I am fortunate and gracious enough to have this gentleman on the show. You see him as Jazz on Bel-Air, but he's also been in several other roles, including The Rookie. He's also been on Snowfall and Lil Rel Show. The one and only, the man himself, Jordan L. Jones. What's going on, man?
Yeah. What's up, Nick? How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. How you doing?
Good, man. Great.
Man.
Great. Blessed.
Thank you.
Highly favored. I just bought a house. So
Dude, I was just about to say, man, first of all, congratulations on purchasing your first home, man. That's gotta be big, man. So what's that feeling like?
It's different. I mean, it took a while for me to realize it. It's hard, especially in Los Angeles, when especially in a way, not a millennial, but just like young, you see people and you kind of get stuck in this LA way of living where a lot of people, like, it looks flashy, it looks great, but when it comes to owning property, a lot of people don't kind of step into that field first. It's like, oh, I want the car, whatever the case first. And I had a conversation with my mom because during like the Rail show, that's kind of when I was like really doing a lot, as in like like, okay, first time getting any type of paycheck, and I'm kind of going crazy with it, and I'm we in Vegas with it, and we doing a whole bunch of different stuff. And this go around, I was like, nah, I think I want to take the right steps in a way to like generational wealth. You know what I mean? So I was like, you know what? I'm a save up, and the first big purchase I'm gonna buy this go around is gonna be a house. So I'm really thankful, and I'm happy and fortunate to have good people in my in a way in my background, people who are just leading me the correct way, and the people I'm surrounding myself with. And I'm just really blessed to be able to say that I actually closed escrow. It was in a way a long time coming, and I didn't think I was gonna get here, but I'm here.
Hey man, that's congratulations, man. That's major. You know what E40 once said: "Don't buy $85,000 car before you buy a house." So,
man, there it is.
So that's what that is.
E40, because I need lyrics like that, because sometimes I'll be like, man, do I really need to buy a house? You know what I'm saying? But nah, I'm happy, and this is cool.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, listen, we've all splurged at some point, man. We got some new type of money, so I get it. It happens, man. That's where we grow from. And if you didn't do that, you wouldn't be able to be in the position that you're in right now. So It's all about growth, bro. Definitely. So talk to me. You mentioned your mom, and she's on The Young and the Restless. She was also on Acrimony. And that she's currently on Tyler Perry's The Oval.
Yes.
So talk to me about mom and just seeing her and her hard work and dedication to the craft, but also being able to raise you and the sacrifices she made that enabled you to be in the position that you're in today.
Yeah, man. I mean, I talk about this all the time, honestly. And my mom was my biggest role model, my biggest inspiration. Single mother, moved out here when I was 5. And, I don't want to rag on my dad, but I think that God, I'm a firm believer in God. I think God is a comedian. God works in hilarious ways. And my dad, when he left the family, it was to become like this big actor. And instead, my mom, instead of like continuing her career, because it's what people don't understand too, is that like, unless you're Denzel, Leonardo DiCaprio, whatever the case is, you're not auditioning anymore. This acting field is very hit or miss, where it's like you can be on something and then not, and then it's just not. It's stable income if you stably acted, if you know what I mean. And so at the time, my mom wasn't on that level, and so it was a hard, in a way, an ego challenge to stop doing that and like do things like she was a substitute teacher, motivational speaker, doing all these things just to get me in the right, position. So putting me through private school, putting me through things like Michael Jordan camp, and like just a whole bunch of stuff that really we couldn't afford. But she wanted me to have the best upbringing, and in order to do that, I had to sacrifice. And right when I graduated USC is kind of when she started going back. And then ever since then, me and my mom have been booming. And I think it's just funny. And the lesson there is that, like, it doesn't matter what you do. Like, my dad has had like this kind of big head start. And at the end of the day, it's kind of like God's not going to reward you if you don't do the right things.
Mm-hmm.
And I think my mom is a perfect testament to that. Just in this whole tumultuous journey, going through obviously ups and downs and like not having it when I was growing up, and just doing a lot of extra things, maybe things that she don't want to do in order for me to, get to where I was trying to go. And she's a big inspiration for me, especially when, like I said, in this field it's hard sometimes. You feel like you deserve a lot of things. After like the rail show, I think that was one of my hardest times because I wasn't, I was going on from being TV every single week. And then, it was different. Guest star here, guest star there. My friends and stuff think, oh my God, that's great. I saw you on TV yesterday. But for me, I know when the last time I worked was. So going through a journey, it's not like I ever want to quit. But there's times where it gets hard where you're just like, man, I just killed this audition. They just said yes. They just said they love me and all this stuff. And I never heard back from us. It's like, man. But that's the journey. And I think my mom was a great role model for me to have, where I was like, my mom didn't quit. And she told me this journey was going to be hard and this and this. Like, what type of man are you? And I'm glad I stuck it out. Like I said, I wasn't going to quit, but it was hard. And I'm glad that I never got to a point where it was like, this is too much and I don't want to do what I love anymore. I just kept the faith. I got my mom, I got God. So I knew I was going to be okay, just win. And now I'm here, man.
Yeah, and now you here, man. Started from the bottom, now we here.
Yeah, man.
I got a chance to meet your mom, lovely lady at the Daytime Emmys a while back, along with yourself. So I can see exactly what you're talking about when you guys have that bond. And you talked about going to USC, and another star that also went to USC around the same time was Sweetie. But what was your experience like being at USC, and when did you determine that, hey, this is the lane I want to go in as far as being an actor and being in these type of creative roles?
Yeah, well, I mean, at first I went to U of A, and I knew that U of A didn't have any good like theater programs, and they were party school. It's a party school. It just is what it is. And even in doing that party stuff, it was cool and it's fun, and college experience was great. I knew I wanted to be in entertainment. So I didn't get into USC at first, like completely declined, but I knew it was going to be easier to transfer. So when I went to Arizona, I knew off the bat that like I wanted to transfer to USC. So people there, my friends, they knew I was going to stay long. And I transferred to USC, and I still didn't know specifically what I wanted to do, if it was going to be stand-up comedy, acting, writing, whatever the case was. And when I got there, I was like, I don't even want to say big on Snapchat, but the people that like looked at me on Snapchat, they thought I was hilarious. They like a lot of my friends were like, hey man, you should be TV, you should be doing this, you should be doing that. And I was like, okay, I never really took any steps toward it. But I told my mom, and she was like, well, I have a friend who's like a manager, she can put you on certain auditions, stuff like that. But the thing is, when you go to SC too, it's not like you can miss classes and stuff like that. Like, and so, okay, you have an audition tomorrow at 5. It's like I can't go. Like I got a class that time, or like I got a final, or anything like that. So I think that was hard. But a lot of people assume that like I majored in theater, and I did. Like I had never majored in theater or anything. I just kind of, in a way, natural acting chops. When I got out of SC, I started like kind of taking acting classes. But like my agents and my managers, they actually, and I promise, they actually don't like when I take acting classes because they said that I have like this natural thing in the way that I act. If they didn't want too many techniques and certain things to kind of change what makes me me. And so I completely understood that. And I'm not saying I don't take classes and stuff like that, but I'm just saying that sometimes I don't like to take too many classes because I don't want to. Sometimes you have something already, and when you're too in your head and stuff like that, then you kind of take away what makes you differentiate from other actors, and that's the whole purpose. So after I graduated at SC, I was like taking classes, but I was also like a PA for a show called Home and Family. And the craziest thing about that is that my journey was, I was being a PA, so I was like scrubbing trailers, I was doing all the dirty work and all this stuff. But I knew that like one day I was gonna be in this field. Like I was really gonna be an actor. And craziest thing is full circle. There's a scene in Bel-Air where it's the influencer house. When I'm walking in with Hillary and I'm trying to take her stuff away from the influencer house, and that same exact kitchen and everything is the same kitchen where I was PAing and I was cleaning dishes and I was doing all that stuff. And I had to take a moment. And Matthew Cherry, he was directing that episode, and he was like, "Are you good?" Because we're doing rehearsal. I was like, "Man, I need a minute." And I kind of made like a little video where I was like, "Hey, man, anybody who who has a dream," and I don't want to be corny or anything, but anybody who has a dream, I'm not saying that I'm not gonna say like, "Oh yeah, all your dreams will come true," but I'll say that stick with it. You never know how your life is gonna turn out. You never know. I never knew when I was working as a PA and I was scrubbing trailers and I was doing crafty and I was doing all these crazy things, working crazy hours, not getting paid like that, to be actually doing my dream in the same exact place where like I envisioned it. It was so surreal and crazy. So sorry I went like on a kind of like rant.
Oh man. That's cool, man. I mean, that's what people need to hear, man, because the thing about it is we see the Instagram hype, right? Like everybody has this luxurious life and nothing is going wrong and everything is, fruitful and multiplying and everything like that. But we don't see like the grind. Like nobody wants to really show you the grind and the grit and where you came from. And bro, you talk about scrubbing trailers. You talked about just going. I mean, I'm sure you got cussed at. I'm sure you were disrespected. Oh, and that's a lot. That's a lot, bro.
100%. Definitely. Obviously I'm not gonna say no names, but just in a way, kind of like, you put in your work. So like it was one of those things where like you knew it was gonna happen because you're at the bottom of the totem pole, and that's the right thing, but you're at the bottom of the whole thing. And so people talking to, certain celebrities walking in like, "Oh, I asked only for sparkling water. Why is there still water in my tray?" Like, dude, like, you know what I mean? And I take that with me too. So like, even when our PA is on the show, it's like, if they're like, "Hey, can I get you a water? Or can I make you?" I'll be like, "No, just tell me where it is, dude. I'm not tripping. Like, I'll go get a water. It's not that big of a deal to me." But I think the best part about, in everybody's journey, mine, I'll just say for this, is like certain things you don't know what it's going to teach you till you get to a certain point. And then sometimes people love you for in a way you've become. So for my example is that I feel like I'm really down to earth when it comes to this, man. I've gone through so many things, single parent, like I said, PA, lived from like paycheck to paycheck, you know what I mean? So like, I understand like the grind, nothing's changed. Like my mentality hasn't changed. And so, there's certain people who are like, in a way, like, why are you in a way acting like that? You know what I mean? As in, like, I don't want to say humble, because I have this thing where I feel like if you say you're humble a lot, I don't think you shouldn't say you're humble a lot if you're humble. Just let other people speak for you. But I'll say that I think that I'm pretty down to earth guy, and when it comes to certain things that even certain PAs will be like, "Are you sure?" or something like that. I'm like, "Yeah, dude. Like, just tell me what the water is. Like, if you want to sit, chill, talk, come on, let's do that." So sometimes they're like surprised, and I'm like, "Nah, man. At the end of the day, we all humans. Like, I'm not treating nobody different than
hey, all I say, I mean, I've always said that too. Whenever I get into that position, if I have to have PAs around or assistants or what have you, to always treat them with respect. Because the one thing I remember, Dr. Jerry Buss, rest in peace to him, that's the Lakers owner. He used to always talk to everybody and treat everybody with respect, from the custodian all the way up to the big executive. And that's something that resonated with me personally. Just like, wow, this dude is worth like millions, if not billions of dollars. And he's talking to like guys that are like hourly wages, like treating them like they're executives. And that's something that stuck with me. And I know that's how you are when it comes to just treating people. I mean, I walked up on you and I'm just like, okay, that's how, is he gonna be cool? Because sometimes you never know, man. Because sometimes, and I've met a lot of cool people, but there's also been some folks that you're like, really, dude, like,
trust me.
Really? I've seen you on 4 episodes, bro, in your entire career. You just gonna act like
Yeah,
this?
like,
Okay.
relax. You know what I mean?
Right.
But like, I feel like we're all human beings, and at the end of the day, like my mom always says, we all gotta pee and bleed. So we all, you ain't that much different. So, um, I'm glad the things that I went through in my life,
Mm-hmm.
in a way, made me who I am, and just happy and blessed that I'm blessed for this opportunity that God has given me, but also kind of blessed for the person that I've become.
Absolutely. Now, I remember seeing you on Snowfall. You go from one iconic series to now a new iconic series in Bel-Air on Peacock. And talk to me about getting that role as Jazz, and then how did you prepare for it?
Okay, great question. I mean, getting the role, I always say this too, man. I actually, when I first got the audition, I turned it down, and I turned it down because Fresh Prince is such an iconic show, a show that's still on, that I still watch every day, still relevant. Like the things that they go through is still relevant, and it's a sitcom, obviously. So when I first got the audition, it was, "Yo, Jordan, we got this audition for you to play Jazz in the new Bel-Air, or no, the new Fresh Prince." And I was like, "Fuck no, I'm not doing that." Like, no, I'm not doing this. Like, what? So we can butcher the best show ever created. Ah! And then people be like, "You're the guy who was a part of butcher," But then my manager was like, "No, I can't let you turn this down." So I read the script and I was like, "Wait, this is crazy. Like, this is actually so different." And then what you don't want to do, so now it's the opposite. At first I go from turning it down to now I'm getting attached to it as an actor. One of the things that is a good technique, not everybody does it, but the majority of actors do this with, like, when we audition for stuff, like after we audition, we throw it away. Like mentally we throw it away, we forget that the audition, like we had it. Because if you stay connected to it and attached to it and you don't get it, it's cause for more sadness, and it's just, you have to move on in a way, so you can get the next thing. You're still attached to it. Now you realize you're still attached to this, or you're so attached to a role and you don't get it. The letdown is so much harder than you being like, oh, you like understanding the journey or whatever the case is. So the opposite happened for this. I usually do that, but then once I started auditioning, and my mom was even like, "Oh, you'd be a cool Jazz." And this girl I was talking to at the time was like, "Oh, you'd be a great Jazz." And I went to the audition, and with this, COVID thing, the people who are self-taping me were like, "Dude, you be a great Jazz." And I'm like, okay, so now I'm Jazz in my head. You know what I mean? I'm like, no one can take this from me, whatever. And I'm not gonna tell that story. But long story short, ended up getting the role. Great moment. Cried with my mom. Thought I didn't get it just because of the way Morgan directors, whatever, I'll tell this story, sorry, if you have the time. When I got the Rail show and I did a chemistry with Rail, long story short, the director had me do it 100 times. And not 100 times, but like so many times. I had to do like 20 times. He told me to change this, change that, change this line, do it this way, do it that way. So when I left out that audition, I thought I didn't get it. I ended up getting that role, and I was like, "Yo, I thought I didn't get it." He was like, "No, I want to make sure that you could take direction well. I want to make sure that you were hard to work with. I want to make sure all these things that a director, it makes sense." So I'm like, "Okay, cool." So fast forward to the Bel-Air audition, I did it with Jabari and Morgan Cooper. And after I did the first scene, Morgan was like, "Okay, great, second scene." And I, right there, was like, I didn't get it. I didn't get the role. And people were like, "What?" When I tell this story, I'm like, "Yeah, I thought I didn't get the role." And the second scene I did it, he was like, "Great job, boom." We hung up, and I called my mom immediately. And I was like, "I didn't get it." And she was like, "Did you fuck up? Like, what's the problem?" And I was like, "Nah, I didn't mess up. He just didn't ask me anything. And he doesn't know me, you know what I mean?" And I'm like, man, he's not, me thinking that, oh, I know how Hollywood works. The last thing I got, they would, audition me 10 times and he only did it once. So I didn't get it. I ended up getting the role, obviously. And I was talking to Morgan first day we shot. And he was like, so how'd you feel when you got the role? And I was like, well, first of all, I didn't think I got the role, first of all, because you didn't ask me anything. And he was like, nah, man, sometimes you just have that feeling. And when you came on the screen, I knew it was you. And so I was like, wait, what? Like, it was the complete opposite of two things that are serious regulars that I got. And he was like, oh, I just knew it was you. It was kind of like, hurry up. I didn't even need to see you act anymore. And I was like, wow, that's crazy. So that's how I got the role. And for your second question, I'm like preparing for the role. I'll say, ironically, I was just myself. I haven't talked to, Jeffrey, DJ Jazzy Jeff, one of the coolest dudes ever. And yeah, he literally, well, number one, I was kind of just myself in the audition because the show is so different. It's a drama, and Jazz and, DJ Jazzy Jeff, they're different. In this drama, my guy's like more of a voice of reason. And the sitcom, it's a comedy. It worked better for the show. He's more like a jokester, like, the butt of a joke. He doesn't get Hillary, whatever. So we were different in that realm. Of course, we have like the same swag. We still cool and stuff. But with the writing causes you to be a different character in a way. So even he told me, he was like, hey, man, I just want to say that, like, keep doing what you're doing. Don't worry about doing anything. And me personally, like when I'm in the trailer or anything, or preparing for the scene or whatever, doing the lines, I'm never, ever like, oh, how would DJ Jazzy Jeff do this? And, okay, I remember that one episode where it was kind of like, I'm not like that. I just feel like his aura and like my aura are in a way kind of similar, but we kind of bring that liveliness to the screen. And I felt like that's just who I am. So I didn't have to like change too much. And then even if I was kind of overthinking it a little bit, finally getting that nod from him that no, just don't even worry about anything. Just do you. And people like it. People like my character. So I guess I'm doing the right thing, man.
No, you're doing a great job, man. The one thing I will say is that you and Jabari Banks have some incredible chemistry, man, to play these iconic characters. What's it like? Because it seemed like the cast and stuff. I remember talking to Coco Jones. I talked to a few other cast members that were on set that are part of this great franchise, and they were all saying how you guys are really a tight knit unit. Like even off the screen, you guys really vibe and gel really well. How does that come about, man? How does that help you all just be able to disseminate those characters to us watching on television?
But I mean, first of all, I think that we got so lucky because what I said earlier, I really mean. Like when Morgan was like, I just knew it was you. That's hard to do, especially with COVID, this quarantine thing happening. When chemistry reads are, I'm supposed to be in the room with Jabari when I'm doing the audition to get that feel and for them to actually see. And the fact that we didn't have that and that we are so close is ridiculous, man. I think that I'm number one. I'm just so blessed to be a part of a cast that is so close. And I think that just has to do with, if you're not religious, I'll say like the universe, but for me, God, man, I think that, I've been in a lot of stuff, and it doesn't mean people hate each other if they're not close. It's just sometimes it is what it is. It's like, hey, man, at the end of the day, I go to work, I have fun at work, and then I go home, though. You know what I mean? This is, I'm at work, but work don't really feel like work because I'm so close to everybody. And I feel like, well, me and Jabari, with this whole entire thing, I feel like in Hollywood or in entertainment, there's a phrase where it goes, art imitates life. And I think that the reason why me and Jabari are so close is because of that. I think that me being from LA, like an LA native, and kind of going through what I say in the show, like this town trying to make you forget who you are, where you came from, And my mom taking me out of public school, putting me in private school was so different. First time I'd been around, a lot of white. Some of my best friends are white. Some of my best friends are gay. And me coming from a public school, all black, and my mom basically changing my world in a way where things were so different, but not changing who you are, not caring about what other people think, giving everybody, equal chances, and whatever we're doing, it was new for me. And I'm so thankful, number one, for my mom to, in a way, broadening my horizons and doing that and opening my eyes to the world instead of just like, oh, this is just like the Black community. And I'm, forever indebted to my mom for that. But me in that journey, staying the same person, not caring about what people think or whatever the case may be, no matter what room that I'm in. I was never like in cliques in high school. I was like in every clique. And Jabari, coming from West Philadelphia, coming to LA, and the first time he was in LA was his first time being in Los Angeles, and me being in LA and me kind of being like the older brother in a way, like us like hitting it off, and not me showing him around LA, but me like, hey, these are the hot spots. This is what's cool, whatever the case is. And then he becomes himself. I feel like that's so similar to the show. And when that stuff like that happens, it's kind of like now on screen, now we're not acting. Of course, we see the lines and stuff, but on screen, now it's like, oh, we do this every day. We talk like this all the time. And I'm excited really for season 2 when we can really explore Will and Jazz's relationship a little more, because I feel like it was more like Hillary, like, Jazz and Hillary, that story. And there was a lot of people being like, oh, like, why are Will and Jazz ain't best friends yet? And it's like, okay, well, it's a drama, so like, keep in mind it's got to make sense. So like in the first one, we all knew that Will Smith and DJ Jazzy Jeff were already friends. So there was no, when you're in a sitcom, you ain't got to explain nothing. Like there was nothing to be like, if we just came on the screen, we were just like, yeah, that's DJ Jazzy Jeff. We're like, okay, like what was his background? And what, But in this is different. So it's like, hey, Will and Jazz got to go through something specific for them to, really get close like that. We're also like different ages. It's not like Jazz is going to pull up to Bel-Air Academy all the time and be like, yo, what up? You know what I mean? So I'm excited for the fans and stuff to see that. But like, just back to how close we all are, like, I'm really close with everybody. Like, I talk to Simone all the time. Akira's like literally my little sister. Akira plays Ashley. Love Coco. We talk all the time. We're all in group chats. Me, Coco, Ali. So, we're all in group chats. So whenever we go on, like we just got back from the American Black Film Festival. Had a ball there. Was up till like 4 or 5 in the morning with the whole cast. It's not like we'll ever split and be like, okay, like I'm going to go do this by week. Usually, like, have fun with each other. And we talk to each other literally every day, depending on the group chat. But but yes, we talk to each other every day. And like I said, it's a blessing to be able to do that because it's still a job. At the end of the day, you still got to get up, do your job, go home. And my mom always says, if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. And I feel like that right here. We were talking about the other day that like we start shooting again in September, but it's been too long. Like I'm trying to get back on set, man. And a lot of people be like, man, if you rush to your work, you gotta love your job. Like there's days where I don't shoot and I still pull up the set just to be on set.
No, that's a beautiful thing, man, when you actually enjoy what you do. And it shows on screen. I mean, even though you guys have different roles and obviously there are different scenes and what have you. But the one thing I noticed that even though you said, Jazz, the original Jazz was a comedian and he was a hustler too. Yeah. But now this Jazz is actually an entrepreneur. He owns a record store.
Yeah.
So how imperative was that for you just to showcase entrepreneurship in our community, having a Black man own something and be able to take pride in that and be able to have that disseminated to our culture and our world as well?
Exactly, man. That's crazy. Like I said, art imitates life. And me just like owning property, him owning a record store. It's something that's just strong about a Black man just doing for himself and owning property and being a hustler. You know what I'm saying? Because, my mom has instilled this in me as a Black individual. We got to work twice as hard just to get to the same door as a white person. And that's just the truth. And in the show, I feel like Jazz is a great example for, we talk about this all the time, and the Bel-Air show is about the Black experience. So we can look at Will, and there's kids from like inner city who like are trying, fish out of water, and they're going to a new place. Okay, this is how you can adapt. There's kids who get judged for their upbringing, like Carlton. It's like, well, I'm less Black because why? Because I talk properly, and because I know, there's kids like that. There's the Black male where, we come from a specific hood per se, and then we get rich, and then people think that we changed, and you know, it's up to you and you being, you know, the person you are to either, you know, succumb to that or not. You know, we have Black women such as Hillary, you know what I mean, who are trying to make a way for themselves, even though they have everything handed to themselves, you know, handed to them, but they want to do something different. And I feel like I specifically speak for the hustlers, the kids who maybe don't have that opportunity to go to college or that opportunity to, you know, get through some private institution or whatever the case is, but still you got to make it in life, and that's not going to deter you from, you know, being successful. So we talk about that all the time, where Bel-Air is just talking about the whole Black experience, and that there's different types of Black experience. We got Jeffrey, who was like, you know, the European Black, you know, what they go through. So I love the show, number one, just because we do that. For me specifically, I love my character because I feel like that is a lot of my friends, and I'm not saying like people look up to me, but I feel like I could be a great example for people who, you know, people are, oh, you didn't go to college, you're not going to make it. Oh, you didn't finish high school, you're not going to make it. It's like, actually, some of the richest people ever didn't take that, you know, ABCD route, you know, and just go through everything, you know, peachy keen, you know. And so I feel like I'm a testament for those kids or those young adults.
Yeah, absolutely, man. One last question. I'm going to hit you with a rapid fire after this, but I got to ask you this question. Season 2 is coming. You guys are about to start shooting. I know you own a record store. Any artists that are going to be stopping by the record store in season 2 that you kind of...
Man, look, man, just know that there are, it's going to be. Because the thing about TV, too, is that you do that season 1, and that season 1 go crazy, and that season 2, we're going crazy. We're going crazier. So hopefully we got Drake in there. Hopefully we got Quavo, you know. But no, I mean, of course I know some things about season 2. But I think, you know, I can't tell y'all everything to ruin the surprise. But yeah, I think you're gonna enjoy some of the special guests, not just at the record store, but that we have on the season. Yeah, I think you guys are gonna be blown away.
Well, hey man, I would love to see Kendrick Lamar stop by the record store. Just saying.
Hey, me too.
Just as a fan.
Hey, me too. Hey, me too.
Him and DJ Quick. Those two right.
Okay, that's a good duo right there.
Yeah, so I would love to see that. But I'm looking forward to season 2 regardless. I'm gonna hit you with a quick rapid fire, man. And whatever comes to mind first. You can answer it as Jordan, or you can answer it as Jazz. Okay. So you pick which one you want to answer as. But if you were on an island and you only had 3 records that you could take with you, what would those records be?
Okay, I'm gonna answer this one as Jordan. And if they're records, they can still be like new. Okay, but it's just on a record. Okay,
record, CD.
Island, and I had to. And I know a lot of good music, and I know new albums and stuff, but I got to take all that stuff out and say, I would have to have The College Dropout, just because that is just one of the best albums. I would have to have Take Care by Drake. I would have to have that record. Oh, that's such a good. I'm killing it. Those two are good. Hold on. Yeah, and you know what? I'll probably have to have Good Kid, Mad City. Ooh. I feel like they're all so different too. Like singing stuff. I got my hard stuff still with the Drake. I got the College Dropout where it's still bumping, but we talk about real stuff. We got Kendrick Lamar talking about the hood experience. Yeah, I think those 3.
All right, so give me the top 3 sitcoms that Jordan has to check out when watching television.
Oh, 100%. Man, the number 3 is gonna be crazy, but Martin, Fresh Prince, and number 3 is hard because I always want to say Wayans Brothers or the Jamie Foxx Show or even like Seinfeld. So those are all. I have to just put those in there. But if I had to, I'll probably go Jamie Foxx Show.
Okay, well we do 3A, 3B, and 3C.
Yeah, okay, we'll just do that. Okay.
Must have breakfast cereal.
French Toast Crunch. Not Cinnamon Toast Crunch. French Toast Crunch.
Okay.
Look it up.
All right, see, that's some next. See, Jordan out here giving me the next level stuff, so I got to check that out.
Hey, Hey man, it's different, man. It like got discontinued for a little bit and then came back, and then you can only get it from certain spots, but it's still
Oh,
good.
okay.
French
It's like
punch.
it's like the McDonald's McRib. All right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, for real. But French toast crunch, fire.
Okay. Best advice you got from Will Smith?
Not to be cliche, but the best advice I got from Will Smith was really be yourself. And I feel like I want to say it's not cliche because actually in listening to that, I feel like our show is such a good show. And it's not about comparing, what show is better or whatever. But number one, I'm just so happy to be a part of the show that, we broke streaming records. We, in a way, are, I'll say Peacock's bread and butter. I'll say that. I'll say that a lot of people wanted us to fail. I mean, not me wanting us to fail, but I definitely at first was like, nah, I don't know what this is about. But then you go to the comments and stuff like that. People want, oh, this is about to be shitty. Oh yeah, I can't wait to watch this because I can't believe y'all doing this. And it's like, to prove that feeling of proving people wrong too is crazy. And I think it all stems from all of us having an idea before of what we want the character to be. And Morgan being like, that's exactly how I wanted you guys to act or whatever the case is. And it working. And a part of that too is, I'll say this to people, Will Smith produces it and his production company, Westbrook, produces it. But I'll say that, Will Smith was pretty hands off when it comes to this. Like he saw the trailer from 2019. Morgan's trailer was like, this is great. I want to back this. But I think the best part that he did was not change anything. This creative, this director, this filmmaker, this storyteller has an idea and a premise for a new Fresh Prince. Let me not come in and change it and make it kind of what I think, because I already did it, as in Will Smith. I'm talking as Will Smith. So it's like the fact that he let Morgan just kind of do what he wanted, hire his own people, allow the actors to take whatever our idea of our character is and bring it to life and how it works. And Will seeing the first episode and stuff, and then on the premiere, him like, dude, don't change anything. Like, this is great. Like, he didn't say like, oh yeah, you should act more like Jazz in the original. No, like the best advice he gave all of us was don't think about that. Like, keep doing what y'all doing and bring what you're bringing to the character, because you're bringing like a 2022 version of the show. And we already got both shows instead of like a show that's so similar. Like I tell people this all the time too. Like, if for some weird reason you've never seen The Fresh Prince, like you've lived under a rock or something, I don't know who hasn't seen The Fresh Prince. But if you somehow haven't, you wouldn't have to enjoy Bel-Air. And that's how different our shows actually are.
No, that's a great balance, man. When you look at, let me also ask you this. When you look at this, we recently celebrated, obviously, the 30th anniversary of Martin, celebrating, obviously, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Living Single, which to me will be the original Friends.
I forgot that one. I'm sorry, Living Single.
Living Single is my show, bro.
I have to leave out something.
Of course, there's too many to name, but Living Single.
I almost said The Cosby Show. Like that, I grew up on it, different drugs. Almost, there's so many where it's just like, just go ahead.
When you look at these type of iconic shows that shape the culture, right? Like we talk about those shows. You mentioned Jamie Foxx show, which definitely is out there. The Steve Harvey show. Yeah. Different world.
I'm like, damn, I missed all this.
A different world,
That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, where do you want this show 20 years from now sitting in our culture? How do you want it to be represented in our culture once you look back?
That's such a great question, man. I think I want it to be just as iconic as The Fresh Prince. I think that this is no shade to anybody else or anything. I just feel like there's a lot of reboots that are done. And number one, in saying this in the same breath, I think that, and I'm not trying to gas this. I mean, we got Speaking to Existence, but I'm not trying to gas this. But I think number one, we're the best reboot of anything. But the reason why I think that is because I don't actually think we're a reboot. I think, like we say, we're a revamp or a reimagining. And I feel like that is kind of what makes this show so good, because it's so different yet so the same. that viewers can in their head compare to Fresh Prince in a good way and be like, oh yeah, like this is still Will and stuff like that. And like, okay, like this is the fight instead of one little fight and his mom got scared. This is the fight. Okay, now in a way I understand the original more. And I feel like because we're opening people's eyes to this new type of revamp situation where this hasn't happened. People don't revamp. Usually people redo. And we're not redoing anything at all. And I feel like because of that, we can have our own identity. Because I feel like if we were so similar to Fresh Prince, then years down the line, we could be forgotten. Why? Because, the Fresh Prince reboot was just like the Fresh Prince, but it was like the new one. But go watch the original. This one is like, no, you can't watch the original to get the same feeling that you get watching Bel-Air. And vice versa. So we have our own identity. And because we have our own identity and people resonate with certain characters, I see through Twitter, people hating on Carlton and then coming around to Carlton because he's relatable. Yeah, you hate him, but like he has a character arc. People, like I said, everybody having their own Black experience where people can relate to, and hopefully in 10, 15, 20 years, people are like, man, you helped me get through. You helped me try to start a business. You helped me, do these things. Or like even with Jabari, it's like, hey man, like watching that show, like, you helped me. I was moving, houses because my family was moving around a lot, and like you helped me like realize who I am, this and this. People say all the time, man. They'll come up to me, and they'll be like, "Hey, man, real talk, man. Like the thing you told you told Will at the end of the season, bro. He's like, bro, like that was real talk, bro. Like you don't understand. Like I feel just like that. But we met somebody in Kansas City who came up to us in the mall.
Whoa.
Breaking us down. He was like, bro, this is my birthday. This is so crazy, bro. Like this is my favorite show. You don't understand. Like that quote. Like the key to what I said. I said the key to happiness is staying true to who you are, no matter where you are. And dude was like, dude, you don't understand. That got me through. And I'm like, I'm not trying to do that. I'm just doing my job. I'm just acting. I'm just trying to do my job. I don't want to get fired. These are lines we're gonna do. Of course, I want to bring emotion and stuff, but never in a million years, let alone the first 5 months, I expect people to start coming up to us like, hey, even Hillary gets that a lot too, Coco. But just as a Black woman trying to have her own identity, as and especially a dark Black woman. Like a brown-skinned, beautiful Black woman, where they're treated differently, and she is in a way a spokeswoman for that community, and I'm a spokesperson for my specific community, and the fact that we're all doing our job so well that people come up to us and see us as those characters when they see us in real life. Like I'm not Jazz, but obviously I come up and I give you a certain feeling that you're thanking me, and I think that is so great. So. To obviously to answer your question, in 20 years, I just hope that we're remembered and we're one of those iconic shows as well. And we change people's lives. If it's for entertainment value, just family, in a family way. I just hope that we're remembered and we make an impact on the Black community for sure.
Yeah, I love Hillary's character. I love the mom's character, Aunt Viv. I love her character. Even Will's mom's character. And I won't lie, it took me a couple episodes to come around because I was a Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. Where's the other two sisters? Wait, there's supposed to be 4 Smith sisters, not 2. Wait a minute. So you got to get used to it. It's a drama of this version of Fresh Prince. So once
I say too that like a lot of and then once you actually sit down and accept and just watch it for what it is, you're like, damn, this is good, obviously. And so like I was seeing certain tweets and people like, man, I'm mad. I'm 10 minutes into episode 3 and Jazz still ain't got thrown out the house. Like, y'all right? He's like, yeah, you're right. I haven't. But like, would it make sense for me to get thrown out the house? I ain't even been in the house yet. So how could I get thrown out the house? For what reason would he really throw me out the house? In a sitcom, it's different. He goes and he's saying something smart to Uncle Phil, and he's like, "Who is this? Get out the house." I ain't even had that interaction yet. You know what I mean? Same thing with Carlton. People are such a prisoner of the moment too, where people because Carlton's character came around. But I'll say this, man. I hated Carlton, and I love Ollie. Ollie is the nicest guy, I swear, ever. Like he's almost too nice. Where it's like, dude, God didn't really make you this nice. You you was some bullshit. But no, Ali is really so nice. And watching him because he's so good, I literally hated him. I literally hated the character. I literally hated him. But with the writing, it was so good that even though I hated him, some of the stuff he was saying made sense. Even though I would still punch him, I was like, actually, writing wise, it's not like he's just this ignorant, like, oh, I'm whitewashed and I don't see anything. Like, he still made a lot of good points.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that number one, you can relate to that. But I think that I think the craziest part about this whole entire thing is people go, man, I hated Carlton. Yeah, I came around, but I didn't have to do that for the first one. And I was like, yeah, you did. Like, people are like, oh, I wish the old Carlton. I remember maybe till episode 5 when people started coming around. People were like, oh, I hate this Carlton, man. Like, bring me back the old Carlton. The old Carlton, he was funnier. He was this. He was that. And I'm like, y'all don't remember in real time when the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air came out, the whole first season, nobody liked Carlton.
Because he was annoying. He was annoying.
It was annoying. And every character who doesn't like, that's how TV goes. Who's the main guy that everybody likes? Will. Who doesn't like him? Carlton. Okay, so we don't like Carlton. And that's how it was in the original. So people, certain things, I'm like, you guys are such a prisoner in a moment because you don't know that you actually felt the exact same way. Actually, you came around quicker on Bel-Air than the original.
No, I think
like, oh yeah, I missed the Carlton because we remember this. And we remember all the good times, yeah, because it's 7 seasons or 6 seasons. And it's like, yeah, after the first season, you're gonna, kind of be removed from the first season more once you understand the storyline. But don't forget that whole first season, y'all didn't like Carlton either. Because he wasn't supposed to be liked. He was supposed to be like this uppity black cousin who's like, who's this guy coming in here? I run Bel-Air. It's the same thing. It really is.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, and Ali does an incredible job as an actor. That's how you know when you hate him, that's how good he is. I won't lie. I hated Idris Elba for a long time. He was Stringer Bell. He was the biggest sucker I've ever seen on The Wire. And I was like, I did not like Idris Elba until I think there was a movie called Daddy's Little Girl.
Little Girl.
And that's when I said, okay, all right, Idris is cool now. But I couldn't stand him as Stringer Bell. He was, like I said, he was a sucker, man. I couldn't stand him. I didn't like him.
But he was so good.
He was that good. Yeah, he was that good.
And that's exactly how when Ali's in and Will walks to that locker room and he's letting his friend say the N-word and he's dancing doing the shmoney dance. I want to punch the shit out of it.
I did too. A lot of us did.
Keep in mind, when we were watching the first episode, we saw the cut before. So we're all like watching it together. And I'm like right next to Ali. I'm like next to Ali in the park. And I'm watching it because it's the first time we've seen it on screen. Like we just been looking at us act, but seeing it. I was so invested in the storyline. I was like, bro, I'll sock the shit out of you right now. Are you kidding me? Like you lacrosse playing, like I was like, but Ali's like the nicest guy ever, dude. Like Ali is the most unlike his character on the show. I think like him and like Uncle Phil. I think Adrian's such a great actor, man. We're all great actors, like obviously. But I think that Adrian has like this. I think the casting for Adrian was so great because he's light-skinned big guy, Uncle Phil, but his aura, like when he speaks, is like that. That's what they were trying to go with. And so him being this, like, he even speaks differently. Like how he speaks on the show and like, I move mountains. Like he don't speak like that. Like he don't talk like that. He talks like, he's more up. He's like, yo, what's up, y'all? Like really like life of the party type guy. And on the show, he's like when he looks at you, like, oh snap, like he's the person that he's acting like, oh shit, like, I don't think that's Adrian. Like that's Uncle Phil. Ali, same way. Ali in real life is like the most caring individual. He cares too much sometimes. It's like, bro, it ain't even that serious. Like, one of the nicest people I've ever met in my life. And I'm not just saying that because it's him, because I can say that about everybody I'm not. Ali is literally the nicest person I've ever met in my life. And on the show, I want to kill him. People compare him to Joffrey, and I'm like, okay, relax. Okay. He's not Joffrey, okay? He's not sinister.
Yeah. He's not quite there. I will listen. I'm not going to ask you this last age-old question because I'm sure you're getting tired of hearing this. Yeah, so I'm not going to even. No, I'm not. I'm not. I will ask you this though: the patent greeting that Will and Jazz did in the original Fresh Prince. Will y'all be able to do that? Because I mean, I see younger people now starting to do it after the original. So are y'all going to be able to emulate that or a version of that?
I'll put it this way: we're going to emulate it in a specific way. We are.
Okay. All right.
We're gonna incorporate a type of handshake. Yes, and that's not even like a spoiler. It's like, okay, we're friends. Most friends got a handshake. I got a handshake with all of my homies.
Yeah, for sure.
A specific different handshake with all of my homies. So yes, like we're gonna get there, but like kind of like not to reiterate in a way, but it's got to make sense. I say this to people all the time when they're like, man, like, the whole first season, like Will and Jazz, like they're not as close as they were in the first one. Well, like I said, like in the first one, we already knew in real life that they didn't have to have a storyline. We knew their real storyline. So Jazz just came in, the classic sitcom, everybody claps, and there's no explanation because we don't need one. I'm not dissing, like you didn't need one at all. He's hilarious. This is a sitcom. We don't need one. This is different. Because as a drama. So everything that you guys want, like, us to show kudos or whatever the case is, or tip your hat to or pay homage, in your head before you want it, think about, okay, yeah, I want to see that, but think about, okay, when would it happen? So for example, okay, like the first season is more about me and Hillary's relationship, and me and Will are cool in the first season, obviously. Mm-hmm. Will and Jazz is still that dynamic, but of course, like we ain't as cool yet. But we can't just be cool. It can't be just, it wouldn't make sense to be, I'm the guy who picked him up from the airport and now we're best of friends. Has that ever happened? Like, unless you know that full story of how they became best of friends from picking him up from the airport. But we haven't seen that yet. So to get a handshake, to get thrown out the house, to, for Carlton to do the Carlton dance. What type of person, you seen the whole season. How many times you think he really finna do that? Like, you know what I mean? Like I have to be in the house and get kicked out. Like, it's a difference too, because this Jazz actually is with Hillary and the other one wasn't, at all. So it's like, when you guys want these nods and like all this stuff, it's like, I'm not saying you're going to get them or not, but like, if you are going to expect them at a time where it's like, okay, that's going to make sense. So I'll give you an example, and like, no spoiler, but like give you an example of like what it could be. It's like, okay, like what if like me and Uncle Phil like butted heads? You know what I mean? Because he's not like messing with me or whatever the case is. And then I get kicked out of his house. It might not be a comedic grab the shoulder. It might not be all that, but it's like, oh, he threw Jazz out the house. But it makes sense. Oh, Will and Jazz, I play early 20s. I'm with Hillary in the show. Will's playing 16, 17. How many 16, 17-year-olds that are close from the back, with 22-year-olds? Unless they become kind of like a mentor or like a brother or something, or they go through something where it's like, yeah, we became close because we went through something together. How every relationship happens. So when it comes to, when are they going to start, when is Will and Jazz going to have more scenes? Like, it's going to make sense why we'll have more scenes or why we have a handshake now because we got closer. But, I'm not going to pull up the Bel-Air Academy all the time and like, yeah, that's my best friend. Like, yeah, he's 5 years younger than me. How'd y'all meet? You know what I'm saying? I have to be a storyline behind it.
Nah, you're right. It has to make sense, man. And this makes sense. I appreciate you joining me on the show.
Come on, man, for real.
Thank you. I appreciate your time, man. I appreciate all the insight that you dropped. This is Jordan L. Jones. He's on the hottest show on the Peacock Network. Season 2 is coming soon. If you missed any parts of season 1, go back, subscribe to the Peacock app, to the Peacock Network. Go back, catch up. So that way, when season 2 drops, you'll be up on game.
Yes, please. Yo, what's up, y'all? My name is Jordan L. Jones. I play Jazz on the new hit series Bel-Air, and you're checking out Nightcast Media.